in addition to obviously rescoring scenes to practice both the craft of programming and arranging and writing and making things sound good, I think the one thing that helped me a ton was practicing writing for someone. I got to do that by doing short films. I think I did 37 short films while I was at USC in a couple of years, and a lot of those people I actually still work for. But there's something about writing for someone else, because what you think is sad may not be what someone else thinks of as sad or scary or whatever. And I think part of the job is being able to interpret. So when someone says, I want something noble, figuring out what that might mean, but then also figuring out how to then go beyond it. So if you get it wrong, if you turn in the first version of a cue to a director and they're like, yeah, that doesn't sound noble to me. And you're like, wait, what are you talking about? It doesn't sound noble. It's got French horns and it's got big timpani. How could it possibly not be noble? It's your job to then find out, okay, well, what do they think that means? And it's really sort of a research language thing. I forget who said it, but somebody said that the main job of a composer is to be a translator and translate English to music and back. And so I think that's really true. I think our job is a job of having someone tell us in English or in any language, in spoken language, what they want musically. And then we have to actually translate that into music and sounds and notes and tempos, and then send it back and then tweak it to make sure that it solves the storytelling and the character problem that they have. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's also something that gets better with practice, partially because you start seeing patterns of when people describe what they think of your cues, especially if they don't like them, especially if they're not happy with what you just turned in. You can start realizing like, oh, that kind of reaction in the past has actually meant that it's, even they say that they want it to be more exciting, what that probably means is they want it to be faster, or they want it to be louder, or they want it to be jagged instead of smooth and loud. They want it to be this level with lots of little pops in it. So you start realizing what that all means, and you just get better and better at interpreting that kind of thing. So I think that's a really important task. And then the other thing that does that's better than anything else is it gets you really used to people not liking everything you do, which is really hard to do. And I was at an Alan Silvestri seminar long ago when he told a story about one of the producers on something that he did early in his career, who finally came up to him and I think put his arm on his shoulder and said, that's a really great cue, but it's not your movie. And it was that realization of you, anybody out there is writing for the vision of your director or of your producer in the case of television. That's all that matters. It needs to tell their story with their sensibilities and garner the reaction and the emotional sound that they're looking for. And often you'll write an amazing piece of music that just isn't what they're looking for that. It's not doing what it needs to do for them, but it doesn't mean it's a terrible piece of music at all. It's probably fantastic. And I think the sooner I realized that, it's not my movie, I'm here to tell their story and to be part of the filmmaking team, part of the storytelling team. I'm like another cast member, or I'm like another writer on the project. So as long as I'm part of the team and we just need to get to the finish line of telling the story they want to tell and making people feel the way they want to feel, then it doesn't really hurt so much. It's just a preference thing. It's some days you want, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like some days you want pizza and some days you want tacos. I kind of love them both, but if a director wants tacos, you gotta give him tacos. I don't know how I got to that analogy. That was pretty great. So I think the thing that I learned after a long time is that, part of our job is to learn what a director wants in their point of view and be able to take the criticism that might come our way where they might not like something that we spent a lot of time on, or even that we think is great and solves an issue. If they said it's something that has to be, super victorious, and what I think of as victorious might be huge string runs and massive French horns and crash cymbals and piatti and timpani, and maybe what a director thinks of as victorious is actually a huge drum beat and big low guitars, and it could be. And so I think that is the most important thing to sort of realize, is that we have to be the translator and do the research of, well, when they say they don't like the first pass, how do we figure out what the second pass should be? And I think that's super important, and that comes from asking lots of questions and not getting defensive and realizing that anything that they said about what they didn't like is not any reflection on how long you spent on it or how hard you worked or what your education is or how good of a musician you are. It's just translation. It's just a language barrier. It's just figuring out how to make the translation so what you give back to them is what they're thinking of in their language. That's all it is, I think.